Welcome to the first in a two-part video here, and I'm going to show you some simple examples of exceptions. Now the examples that I'm going to show you are very simple, but I want you to get your head wrapped around what's going on with exceptions and just kind of plant a couple of seeds about how you can use these things and what you can do. Now the landscape's wide open here, and I would strongly urge you to go out there at whatever technical level you're comfortable with and dig into exceptions a little more and wade out a little deeper into these things. Okay, keep in mind I'm just giving you the basics here. All right, there's a lot more that you can do here. There's a lot more places to go, and for right now I just want to get you started. So the first thing we're going to do is a very simple example. I'm going to show you just how to throw an integer. So the first thing we're going to do is create our integer, and we're going to create a variable, an integer called inventory, and we're going to just initialize it to 4, and then we're just going to do an example here of throwing an integer. And so the first thing we're going to do with our exceptions, remember we're going to use a try catch, and so I'm going to say try, and then within these braces I'm going to put my code that I want to try. I want to check to see if there's going to be any exceptions. Well, there could be a lot of code here, but basically we're going to end up with an if statement that says if inventory is less than 16, then we need to do something. All right, and what we're going to do here is we're going to throw inventory. So we're just going to throw this integer out there. We're going to say there's a problem with this. We're going to throw it at you, and when you get this integer, it means there's a problem with it. You need to do something with it. Okay, then we're just going to put catch at the end of that block, and we're going to tell it when you catch integer e. So we're going to throw an integer at you, catch it, assign it into e, and then do something with it. All right, and then I'm going to open some more braces, and this is where I'm going to put my handler, if you will. Okay, and I'm just going to do a little quick write out to the console, and there are only, now notice what we're going to do here. We're going to just call our inventory. Now obviously I could write some code to reorder or to email people or whatever I want to do, but for now, to keep it simple here, this is what we'll close it out with. And notice all I've done is said is if the inventory is less than 16, then just go ahead and throw that inventory integer, catch it here, and when you catch it, load it out into here. Okay, actually I should put e there, and send it out. So let's take a look at this and see how it actually performs. And you'll kind of get the hang of it right here with this one, but this is a very easy deal to pull off. The complication comes when you start to use the exception classes. Okay, so I'm going to right click, doing everything here like I have on all the other examples, and so let's do exception example and run it, and notice it's telling me there are only 4 items in inventory. I need to leave myself a space right here to reorder. And so what's going on here is that if I come out here and notice put a space here and rebuild this thing, that as soon as I see this condition, then I throw that integer variable out there, and suddenly it works. Okay, now we could have just as easily thrown an error string. Okay, let me just back up to here and let's change this, and I can just put a string in here. Okay, and I can say inventory is low, reorder, and this just gives me a little warning to throw out to somebody. But again, in the real world I'd probably want to write some code here to tell people that we need to do a reorder. Right now, when I catch it right here, notice I'm not catching an integer anymore. I'm actually catching a string value right here. So what I'm going to say right here is to catch a constant character e. Again, we'll just use e since we used it the first time. It'll work here. All right, And this time I'm going to take all of this stuff out. Alright, and notice that's what we have. Alright, so let's run this one. We'll compile this, and then once again we'll just jump out to the command console, run our example again, and notice it throws inventory is low, reorder. So you want to kind of start to get used to putting the code that you want to have handled if anything comes up right here inside these braces, inside the try section. Okay, any errors that arise here, we can simply throw a condition to our catch area, and then we can pass all kinds of information in, and then we can take whatever actions we want to. The actions we're taking here is just to write something out to the console. Okay, now keep in mind, you could have quite a few lines of code in the try section, and then you could have quite a few lines of code in the catch section. Alright, now I can have multiple catches here, and I can just list the catches down through there, and then I can check for from the most specific down to the most general errors or exceptions and catch those. Okay, that's one of the things I would encourage you to go out there and look at. Okay, but that's a couple of very simple examples for exceptions, and in part 2 we're going to actually use the provided exception class that's part of the C++ standard. So join me there.